Good morning.
Long time no see.
I know it. This is a busy week.
It is. So much of us, all, but between books, between Wednesday chat, between Saturday, in person,
Yeah, it's a busy week.
we should just put you a cot in the back of the store, Marianne.
Pretty much this week, yeah, that would have worked. So
Right. Well, good morning to all of our friends here. Um, and thanks to everybody who came out for the book club last night and got to meet yet another local author. Um,
yeah, it was interesting. He brought all kinds of equipment with him, and it's like I saw him unpacking all this stuff out of his. I'm thinking, wow, I don't do any of this. I just stand up and talk. This is pretty cool that he does all this stuff, but
yeah.
yeah, no, it's easier just to stand up and talk. So,
And I'm like, I didn't realize we were going to get a full presentation going on.
right, that surprised me. I thought he was just going to answer a few questions at the end, and see, he took it over, which was fine.
Amanda was with us last night. The time shift, the theory's there. And she's like, imagine walking into a room full of ghosts and they think you are the ghost because you time travel.
When he said that, do you guys have you seen that commercial on TV where the girl buys the house and there's those three old ghosts, Victorian ghosts inside, and they think she's a ghost?
Oh.
When I mean, it's on TV right now. It's playing. I forget who it's for, but it's like, oh my God, that's what. And I didn't want to interrupt his, presentation, but I thought, I wonder how many other people saw that.
Right. Well, there was also that movie with Nicole Kidman
Right,
where, at first it's like the ghosts are, then they are the ghosts in the house.
right.
Um, and then I was also thinking of that meme of where it's like my roommate thinks our house is haunted, but I've been here 260 years and I've never seen a ghost.
Never. Yeah, right, right.
Uh, but yeah, anybody who maybe hasn't already went back and listened to it on our YouTube, you can go back and watch his whole presentation. I did. Oh yeah, Poodle Pants is a Geico ad.
Thanks, Poodle Pants. Oh, you would know that. I do, and it's so funny because at the very last scene, she comes in and they're playing whist or something in the parlor, and she's got her hair all tied up and she's got a mask on, a facial like green stuff all over her face, and the one goes, "Oh, there's a ghost." She
Yeah.
goes, "It's personal hygiene," and she walks up the steps. But yeah, oh, yeah, but as soon as he said that, I thought, doggone it.
I kind of thought this too. That's why I kind of came in the way I did with him. Loved how Marianne saved herself when the author walked in.
Practice.
And I knew that entryway carries, so I was trying to talk a little bit louder anyway, so you would hear.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, no, he's like, yeah, here we go. Great. Yeah, no, he was a nice guy. He really was. And again, and I've said this so many times. My books, what I write works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. Any book that you read on this subject, you should just save half and throw the rest out because it's never, every book is not going to work for everybody. So,
Yeah.
and we should show the book for next month right away before I forget. Did you bring one?
I sold all the ones I had.
And I didn't grab one. So, and what's the name of it?
Between Life and Death, I'm going to put the link up to for us on the store. We sold all the ones, but I already put in an order, so more will be here in a few days. Yeah, Between Life and Death with Dolores Cannon.
And what's her name?
Dolores Cannon.
Oh, Dolores. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I had it and I put it back on the top because somebody was looking for one. So the one I was showing, I just, reached behind me and put it back up on the bar there.
Uh-huh.
And then when I left, I said to Ted, I said, "Did you get up?"
Or
No.
between, I'm sorry, it's between death and life.
What's it called?
Between
Between.
death and life. I
Oh,
want to say life and death, but
oh,
it's
okay. Between. Close. Same difference.
right. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, no wonder it's
Yeah. Right. Actually, in my opinion, life should be first, but that's okay. That's what happens first. So.
but yeah, we'll have more copies. And one of the reasons like we're kind of helping do this is we want to have fun discussions and everything, but it helps us out because you're buying the book with us. So I get it that some of you want Kindle and stuff, but rather than immediately running out somewhere, like help the people that are putting this on for you. You know, um, let's see, Marianne and at these book clubs, you bring your Quincy jewelry and everything there. So
Yeah, but pretty much everybody that comes in is there for people that are newer, I think, because everybody that was sitting there last night, everybody but one person had a Quincy then that was sitting there. So, and maybe two didn't, but I know one didn't for sure. But I think almost everybody else did. So, it's like you say, it's a convenience. So,
mhm.
and I'll have the stuff this Saturday too for the meet and greet.
Yeah,
So,
so if you couldn't join us last night, come see Marianne Saturday.
yeah, I'll
Pick up
be there from 1 to 4. And this is the one the kids can come up and ask me questions and show me pictures and bring me stuff to touch and that kind of stuff. So come in for sure. Uh, and the talk is after, but that's looking sort of sketchy right now. I don't know if we're going to do that or not.
Yeah, so if you want an in-person question answer lecture, a little more in depth than what you see here, being able to ask questions, that's the after hours. Talk nobody under 18 for that one. Amanda, she's like, never occurred to me that shadow people could be time travelers. I assume they were all earthbounds. You know,
Yeah, and that's actually what opened my. I like the idea of them coming in and out of other dimensions. I never gave that a thought. Never gave that a thought. So that was good. And he makes sense. I was assuming, which makes how that goes, that they were just all earthbound spirits that people see as shadow people, but obviously, and that's pretty good with the aliens too. That's a possibility, I think. Like I said, there were some things I didn't agree with what he said, but nobody's going to agree with everybody about everything. And I was just disappointed because he can't talk to him, he can't get rid of him, and he can't protect the house, which is my big thing. I think if somebody's, why would you go through all that work if you can't do something about it? That's my question. So, but
right.
again, if there's that many different kinds, then I suppose. I don't think that when you astroplane though that you look like a shadow person. I just don't think
Mm.
that that's true. I truly think you stay invisible when you astroplane.
I know when in the shaman practice classes, like there is part of that where you learn and practice like distance work and traveling to that person you need to help. And part of the homework and learning and is like you pick a person. Like I might say, hey Marianne, around 8 o'clock tonight, just kind of look around and see if you anything out of the ordinary. Like something shows up that wasn't there a minute. And it's that whole if and when you're traveling, depending on how your energy comes across, does it look like you? Are they do they think suddenly of like you? Or do you notice either certain little animals or animal sounds or that could be accompanying or how you represent what your spirit is coming over as? Because we invoke the energy medicine of like animals, plants. So
Of
maybe if
course.
I'm working with you with the Puma energy, do you see a larger house cat suddenly walking around?
Right.
You
Right.
know, and I wouldn't necessarily like give you a heads up, like I'm going to travel to you. It's like, hey, if you don't mind, just a little experiment.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But I don't know if that would equate as a shadow person or a shadow animal. Um,
I think what he was saying, it could show up. I think most people feel a change in energy and they know something. It's like when you know you're being watched and nobody's there. You can feel yourself being watched.
mhm,
And that would have to be pretty much the same thing with astroplaning, I would think.
yeah,
So, but yeah, like I said, it was interesting. There's a couple, I can incorporate some of that stuff because I can understand it better now. So, that's the whole thing of a book club, learning what you don't know and
mhm,
getting other people's opinions on things. And, you know, nobody does everything the same. So it's
right.
just fun to know.
I just like how he kept everything. He wasn't a complete, this is the only way, and I believe, and it's right, and a complete, this is absolute bunkus. Like, he was doing pretty good diligence, I think, of trying to research and,
Both sides, right?
going into the DSM-5 and like, what exactly is this? What happens to the brain as this is happening? And,
Right.
um, so I like the his objective view, I guess. Is it objective
Well,
view?
and I think a lot of things too is that he touched on the scientific or the medical reason for some of this stuff too. So, physicians are absolutely convinced that paralysis is strictly the person doing it. They
Hmm.
would never say that it's a ghost doing that or something like that. But he showed both sides, which was good.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Brooke, you can actually go watch it. I know it's up on the store's YouTube, and I'm sure it's got to be up on yours. Yeah.
Yeah, Ted set us up on our channel too,
Yeah.
so you can watch
So
it there. Yeah,
either one, and both of our Facebook pages and stuff. So I mean,
that's where it's at on my Facebook page.
so
Yeah,
it's there to be able to go watch. Um, let's see, man. It says tough to tell when someone comes from the white light or different dimensions. Are you able to tell them pretty easily?
no,
Well,
if somebody comes from the
from the
white
light.
light, I can't tell
Yeah,
them anyway. So no, I couldn't do that. I'm sure there are
yeah.
people that can, but I cannot. So
Let's see. Strawberry asks, when you do video chats, are you able to speak with the earthbound spirit?
I am not. When on Zoom, if the person is on Zoom from where they think the problem is and the spirit is there, I can see them, tell you what they look like. If the right questions are asked, I can see the spirit shake their head yes or no or or maybe or something like that. But to actually speak to them or get rid of them, nope, I can't do it.
Melody says, hi, ladies. Can you tell us any information about the beings that live inside the earth? I've heard about them for a long time, but haven't come across much information.
I have heard so many stories about the factories in the middle of the earth and almost like Neanderthals that lives down there and that type of thing. But personally, I don't know. Um, but there's supposed to be those kinds of cities and stuff in the depths of the oceans too. So why not?
Mm.
Why not?
I know some native tribes have origin stories of people from center of the earth, or and it's very frustrating, interesting, not frustrating. It's frustrating that there's not enough information really to keep learning more
And I
on.
think that's the problem. I don't think who's gone down and came back to write a book about it. I,
Right.
I don't know.
Melody wants to know how she can invite fairies to come live and help with the veggie garden.
They'll come automatically if you have a nice garden and you're they head it when it goes to seed and weed, nobody takes care of it. But if you're taking care of your garden or your flower beds, they will be there automatically. That's nature. They will just come. You don't have to do anything.
Hmm. Um, and Brooke, I do have your question in email. I'm having the time to sit down and answer that. So you're haven't forgotten about you. Um, Paula asks, can you explain why sprinkling holy water around is not recommended? Can I bless myself with it as protection?
You can, but to throw holy water around when you have an earthbound spirit, it just, that's something that only an ordained priest or minister should do, not a layperson. And so, yes, bless it yourself with it, of course, and dab it on the kids. Just don't walk through the house with the little holy water bottle going, in the name of God, you have to leave. I command you to leave. Yeah, why? Why would they ever listen to you? So, nah.
Divine says, good morning, ladies. Great book talk last night. Passed on the info to a friend. She bought the book immediately and is watching the presentation today.
Nice.
So, yeah, we were pleasantly surprised. We thought he was just going to come ask questions, not give a whole presentation, which was kind of.
That was to his benefit because, like I said, it was so iffy even getting him in there. And when
Mhm.
people are, important, and he's got people that make his appointments, so it was nice that he did this.
Hmm. And I didn't realize because of that. That's why I'm running around in the background. I was kind of watching part of the video. I'm like watching me just run around trying to plug in this thing for him and like how to find enough extension cord. I'm like, well, I was unprepared. Nobody told me.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's not what I expected, and I should have just, like I said, I should have moved. I just didn't know it was going to be that encompassing, that he was just going to keep on going. So,
Yeah, yeah, it all worked out.
right.
And I had met him a year ago at the Mansfield uh, prison parapsychon, bought the book and had him sign it because I'm a nerd for books and autographed copies. And I was like, yeah, maybe we'll do something. So then when we decided, I'm like, oh crap, I got this book and I better read it and let's present it. And remembered how he was very personable and easy to talk to. And
Yeah.
so this will be
He
a good
was surprised that last night was only the second one, the second meeting.
one. Hmm.
And I said, yeah, I said, it's only the second one. I says, I'm sure, by the end of the year, we'll have a bigger audience once the word gets out.
That you're doing it again because you had a huge book club before.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's what Linda said that was there last night. Because that was the last time I saw her when Borders closed. She was one of the, and I says, oh my gosh, you remember how many people were there? She says, there were like 200 people there. I said, I know. This people standing around, people bringing in lawn chairs. Oh my gosh. So I
Yeah.
said, yeah, it was crazy.
So we might get back up to that point.
We might. The world has changed a lot. Who knows?
But it was fun that we had so many people streaming with us over it.
Yeah, that was really good. I was surprised, and they asked some really good questions too. So that was good.
Mm-hmm. Um, but anybody new, especially over on Instagram, you can ask questions, earthbound spirits, negative energy, portals, how they work, fairies, and I'm going to get live answers. So type your questions in the comment section and it'll pop up for me to see. Um, yeah, he was very nice. And he's local, and I like helping local people. Heather asks, are there any telltale signs that the wee folk are nearby, aside from seeing them with your own eyes?
Only if you see your dogs or your animals being afraid, because again, some of these little folk are really mean to animals or kids. Um, and I know, and again, referring back to last night, he talked about people with red eyes. However, there are little folk that have red eyes too that like to scare children. So if that would be the way to know if you had them in the house or not.
Mm. I mean, and now's the season uh, to try and start work with them if you haven't. I know they've been a little bit more active than normal in the store, it seems, because just things are moving, shifting. And what I find hilarious, Marion, I don't know, maybe we'll see this coming Saturday after your lecture talk. We'll go back over to the store side because there seems to be like a time limit of the day where the store and the beings of the store have had enough of us humans. And if we're prolonged, it's the tapping, the knocking, you hear the glass flexing. And there's been times where the jewelry cases around the store, it sounds like a little kid just goes down running their finger, bop. And I'm like, oh, they want us out.
Yeah,
Like
they're
it's,
tired. Time to leave.
yeah.
They need to have their party now, so take off. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I
So,
think they do have set routines. I mean, I think they really do. So
um, Marianne's or Amanda says, I can't believe Marianne is afraid of ghost spiders. Just make the white light. Watch it
I
be a
don't.
jumping ghost spider.
Right, right. I was gonna say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I, and again, like I told him last night, when somebody points says to me, "There's a shadow person," I look and I see a regular earthbound spirits. I don't see him as a shadow person. So yes, I could send them to the light, but thank God I've never seen a shadow bug because that would just do me in. So
Well, you handled the ghost snake pretty well.
yeah, yeah, through a cracked door with one eyeball looking in because I didn't know what it could do.
Uh, um, Ginger says, any chance of getting Marianne and Mike together at an event like the carousel or the prison? He is so busy. And Mary, like, you two have this hugely filled schedule. Like after he left us, he had 2 or 3 hours and then he was live with somebody else like on their documentary, and I found it when I was like just kind of mindlessly scrolling Facebook, and it was like Mike Ricksecker now live with so and so on this other person's TV show, and like you just had a late night radio
Right,
show. So,
right.
I mean,
That's it. Everybody. Plus, we yeah, you're talking about invisible stuff 99% of the time, but it's still two different things that we see or talk about. And
mhm.
I don't know. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, it would be so hard. And then even if I knew of an event or that we were putting it on, the fact that trying to go through 2 or 3 of his people, and I'm like, dude, you're like 2 miles down the road. Just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I'm in town.
Yeah, but if you've got people like that, you can't. So
So he's a very busy guy. Um, let's see. Denise says, I don't know if I am hallucinating or really seeing spirits. I could see bodies, clothes, but no heads. Move it. Ask them to touch me so I know they were real, but it would not stop and would not, touch.
first of all, when they touch you, you have to understand it's the energy that you're feeling when they touch you. You're not actually feeling their hand on your face. Uh, I mean, it's the energy that's moving your hair around that feels like it's being pulled or touched, or somebody getting the bangs out of your face. Um, but I don't know. Well, people have, yeah, I don't know. See, that's a little confusing because people have felt something holding their ankles down or their hands down, but again, that's energy.
Hmm.
So I don't think that it's like when I'm doing somebody's house and we're sitting around the table and it's like, okay, you ready to let the ghost go? Sure. But I want them to make the dish towel fly in the air. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. They don't like to pretend like they're trained monkeys and they're going to do something that you ask them to do. As a matter
Right.
of fact, that's one way to almost put them on the opposite end of being very not cooperative.
Right. Cindy asks, after The Ghost Whisperer, did any other TV show ask you to become a consultant? I'm secretly hoping for more shows like that. Why did they stop the show? Any insight you can share?
The show stopped because the main character had a contract for 6 years And so they were at the end of the fifth year, they were negotiating her contract. And back then, if you wanted a show in reruns, there had to be 6 years of televised shows before anybody would do them as reruns. And that's when they are worth money because somebody, another station, cable company can buy them. Well, she said no, she was not going to do any more than this amount. And so they just canceled it because why would they do the sixth if she wasn't going to, scratch, you do six. If she wasn't going to go farther, what was the sense of doing it? So she just stopped. And it put a lot of people out of work, to be honest with you, but that's what happened. And no, I have not been asked to do any other ones. Um, in all honesty, I'm a bubble burster. I just don't. I just can't go along with the crowd if I don't see it and say, yeah, there's a bunch of soldiers out there on the field fighting. If I don't see them, I'm not going to say I do. And so that's a little bit of a downer for a lot of people. So no, I haven't because I don't know, maybe I'm just too practical sometimes.
Well, Jean says maybe we just get a replacement for Jennifer.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah. And
I,
she hasn't had any trouble working after, so that's good.
it's so many years down the line, we just progress out and we get a different person.
Right, 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 right. And and there's a difference too. Um, Here's where your people, if you have really good ones, can get you in a really good space because her contract was for 6 years, and because they canceled it, she still got her salary for the sixth year,
Mm.
which is nice if you can do it.
Need a good lawyer and a good contract, man.
That's about right.
uh, Somebody asked, said, isn't Goddess Elite protected with seeds?
It
Yeah,
is.
Goddess Elite is. The new office space isn't.
No, and the seeds don't stop little folk. They're not dead.
So, yeah, the store is protected.
It is. I
um,
can't tell you how many times sitting there I can see them waiting outside in people's cars. They can't come in.
well, they could be washing them while they're out there. I mean,
They could. They could be, and I've seen them look out through the window.
right?
Like
Oh,
that.
man, let me in.
Where's my person? I don't see her in there. Right.
Right, right. Let's see. Drew asks, I was wondering, Marianne, if you came across a ghost that made you laugh or you thought was just really funny.
Oh yeah, some of them are really funny. Some of them ask the silliest questions, but yeah, no, I talk to them like they were alive, and if they want to tell me a joke, I'll listen. So, but you have to remember, and my kids will tell you, Mom has no sense of humor. So,
You do too. So does Ted.
oh, Ted does for sure. No, but opposites. Yeah, this is us. So,
Sometimes that's what's attract, right?
that's right.
Swifty says, thanks, Marianne, for verifying the ghost proofing of my niece's apartment yesterday. You gave her great peace of mind.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad.
Oh, Amanda says, Mike Ricksecker is such a far cry from a certain guy with thick biceps. Yeah, probably a little more sane, too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and Jean is recommending Nina Dobrev from the Vampire Diaries to take over that role.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Maybe that's what we should do. We should ask our friends here who the new Ghost Whisperer on the TV side of the camera should be, and we'll just rewrite the whole thing ourselves. Darn it!
Right, right. Never know.
And we'll have Lewis do all of the costuming.
Right. Yeah, we can just do this ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody's got a cell phone nowadays. Apparently, you could do it right on your cell phone.
The amount of equipment that I'm slowly accumulating between all of this and podcasts and everything else, like Why not?
Sure, let's add it to the list.
Let's see. Um, have you come face to face with an alien?
I've been in the same house with an alien. Uh, they were in a different room, however. But yeah, yeah, we have Ted and I have. Um, so is actually my girls have too. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Gene says he's got lights. We got cameras. He's got lights, microphones, and
Microphones, headphones.
I've got green screens, at the shop for the classes that we record.
Right, right. All we would have to do is find a house that is willing to be put on TV to do that, not just closing a portal like Margie did with us,
Hmm.
but I mean, to do that kind of thing, you just look at the Ghost Whisperer. It got detailed in all of their lives, and most people don't want that spread all over TV.
I think we need a brainstorming session here and a list of assets. We can make this work, and just make it more work for you and I to do. We don't need AI.
Melissa, your brain needs a timeout.
When
Seriously.
when I crash at the end of the day,
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, okay.
just unplug me from the wall. Um, Bobby asks, can a recently deceased person superimpose her face on someone else's? I had a nursing home experience like this. The lady's face was on her boyfriend's roommate.
See, I don't understand. Did this woman die or
Yeah. So the woman had passed, and
pass?
then her face was
That
imposed.
could have been the energy from her over her boyfriend. Think about this. She could have been down giving him a kiss goodbye and you caught her face. That's a possibility. Without being there and seeing it, I would just have to guess, but I would think maybe that might be it.
Let's see. Yeah, Karen, we stole through the books that I had last night. I've got more coming. I'll set one aside and give you a message that you know we got it. Uh, um, because Amanda's like most is
Yes, 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 yes.
my staff has threatened at times to like duct tape me to a chair and make me sit.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And Pam says, I would love to see another book like When Ghosts Speak. I could listen to more adventures of Marianne and Ted.
I've got books ready to go. And like I said, unless you're Stephen King or, somebody really, James Patterson, I just don't see a lot of, Amber Heard's going to be writing a book now, but, I didn't go to court with Johnny Depp, so what do I know? Those are the kind of books they want now. I don't know. I think everything goes in spurts, and maybe it'll come around again. But like I said, I'm ready. I've got a couple fiction stuff ready to go again to add to the two I've got. So we'll see.
Oh, Melody says, yes, love it. You ladies can do it. The new Ghost Whisperer that isn't Hollywoodized.
That would be a first.
It's like, I'll pre-order for your books and stuff. I mean, we could, like, if we could get some of the people that are having their house cleared, like, give permission. I'm sitting in the back seat like I don't exist, just kind of recording things and catching the facial expressions and watching Ted go put things up, and because who needs sleep? Um, or
You
maintenance. I have
know,
maintenance.
just from experience of having a camera follow me around for like at Halloween, one of the TV stations always has me, go to a house or go to someplace spooky and do it and that kind of stuff. And you get people to agree to that. When a house is done like on a TV station, it's usually somebody that works at the station that has a cousin that has a cousin that's got a problem and we can do that house. It's not somebody that just calls me up and says you want to do this. So you've got an okay going. And oh yeah, they're fine with it. And so they come in, and of course, um, you start asking them questions. The ghost, asks your ghost questions, and they ask, and you give answers to them. And then the ghost will tell me something about the family. And now here I am with a camera looking at me and a boom over my head and a microphone. And it's like, good Lord, I'm supposed to ask her if she's having an affair with the neighbor next door.
Yes, it's called ratings.
Yeah.
It's called
And
drama ratings,
then you
Marianne.
bring it up, and then you get this frozen look on somebody's face that goes, I,
That's where I'm like, that would be a yes.
yes, I know, but that's something that, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to do this anymore. And so that takes care of that.
The
So,
behind the camera person has to determine
yeah,
that's the truth.
see, if you could be the person that it was your house,
Well, my house is,
but your house
currently
is
with it.
clear.
Yeah,
Right. So, but it's people that know they have something, they want to know all about the ghost, but they don't want anybody to know about them. Well, I got to know about you because why did the ghost show up here? And so I have to ask the questions, and sometimes people don't want to talk about that stuff.
right. Let's see. I would have to hold back my laughter to Marianne. Yeah. And that's funny because at the book club last night, I was watching your face for reaction to anything that he might be saying. Like, was it interesting? Did you disagree? Did you approve? And there were other people in the audience who were watching your face, looking for you to be possibly secretly looking at, ghosts. And
Yeah,
so,
well, the two people in the front row caught me toward the end because
right.
the ghost that was out in the hallway by the door was like jumping up and down. So, and I think the guy caught glimpse of that movement in the corner.
Hmm.
Uh, I was so hoping. You have no idea. I was so hoping it would be a shadow person. I was so hoping.
Right. Like,
No,
ta-da!
not.
Karen's like, yep.
Haha, yeah, you're right. Didn't work.
Let's see. Freya's Gardens says, I finally getting to check out your Wednesday chat. I struggle to feel human energies, although I felt pets that have passed. Is there a way to develop better sensitivity to human ghosts?
It develops on its own, I think, and I think surprisingly, there's some good things about getting older. It seems like the older you get, the more what you had when you were a kid, you lose, and you go through life, and then when things start getting a little more even, then you start realizing stuff around you or noticing it more around you. And it's easy with pets because let's face it, they're like our children. And so it's real easy to hear the toenails clicking on the floor or feel the cat jump out of the bed when the cat's dead. And so you're just more tuned in. It's easier sometimes to catch up a pet ghost than it is a human ghost.
Let's see. There's a lot of suggestions for some like self-publishing, but Melanie is like, I will buy 3 copies of any book that you put out. Yeah, and I know Hay House has kind of opened up into some publishing, but they're
I
even
will
listening
not
there,
publish with Hay House. I will not.
like some of their policies. I was just like,
There's certain publishing companies I will not go with. And Hay House was after me before the New York publishers were after me. And no, I don't care for Hay House's contracts. Let's put it that way.
let's see. Kelly says we need a live stream ghost clearing so we can all ask questions. The ghost would probably be begging for the light by the time we got done interrogating them.
And see, and here's the other thing: how do you keep them talking? You
Mhm.
know, I can't say I'm in front of you. You have to answer my questions. They're going to flip me off,
Right.
which they've done on more than one occasion.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if it was a spirit like the one that was out of the portal, Clarence, granted, he couldn't run away and leave the house, but he could always hop back in the portal.
Right,
So how do you hold the portal opening hostage?
Right. Right.
And
And
by no
those
means am
aren't
I.
really the ones you want to talk to because they're only in the house for a day and a half at the most. Where the ones that are with you 24/7, those are the ones that have the information. Those are the ones you really want to talk to.
Right. So it's not that I'm trying to put down Kelly because I think it would be a fun thing to do. It's
Oh,
like,
I do too, and I wish it could happen.
so I'm like, how do we do this? And how do we make sure it's the right ghost period? You know, that's going to be willing to answer some questions before, you
I
know.
think if you could find a house and just apply your normal instincts to something, if okay, if you want your child, you have three children, you want one of your children to do something, you tell them to do it, and I don't want to do that. It's like that's okay. Your brother is better than you anyway. I'll have him do it. Well, no, I'm going to do it now.
Oh, right.
Okay, so you try to find a house that has more than one ghost in it,
Mm,
and you maybe could get, turning them against one another, which would be my job. You might be able to get more information that way, or
mm.
are they going to just hold hands and go into the light together and not say a word? When you go through all that, it's too much of an unknown.
Yeah, we would even, like, you and I would probably have to try and plan this out. Like, not even, well, then you can't announce it because nobody could be asking questions. It's like to set the whole thing up and then it doesn't work. And
That's
then we're
it.
like,
It's too much of a failure. Right. Right.
how do you, um, because like Amanda, she's like, close the portal, then Clarence will have to go to the light or else. Well, he doesn't have to go in. He can run around that house and just cause grief for the rest of it.
That's right. And on top of that, the one time I did try to close up a portal with somebody that was right there, they about knocked me, their energy about knocked me over getting in front of me to jump into that portal. Right. There, no, that's just not going to happen. I don't know. And then you've had ghosts where I'll ask a question and they'll go, well, that's private. I don't think you need to know that. So, or the wife says, can they tell me if my husband's having an affair? If the ghost doesn't like the wife, what do you think the ghost is going to say? No, he's not. But if the ghost doesn't like the husband, oh, yeah, and this is who, with who, when.
Right.
But you're not going to get that every time. And why would somebody want to know that? Or want it spread out on the internet that that's what's happening?
Yeah. So it would be fun to do, but there's no good way to guarantee that it would even be able to go off without a hitch. I
No,
mean, yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Um,
You know,
let's.
an example, the Carousel Museum, that place is full of ghosts. And they stay there. Those people that own that place don't want their ghosts to be gone. They want their ghosts there. So,
Mhm.
what I've always done when somebody says that, I tell the ghost, if you want to go, here's how you can do it yourself. So that way I'm not releasing them, but if they want to go, they go. Now, these people, these earthbound spirits that are at the Care Museum, they stand there, they pose for people to take pictures. They like being there. But how much information are they going? They're not going to talk about the people that own the place. Why would they? They're bringing in fresh energy every time they open the doors. These people are living high on the hog out there because look at all the people that come in and out of the Carousel Museum. So it's tricky. It's really tricky.
And I mean, the current owners, like, they're lovely people, but that
Oh,
building has been
wonderful.
so many things with so much history to it. So, we would, I wonder who the longest ghost has been, in that building. We're going to have to ask if we can. And like, how many different businesses have they seen progress through the building?
Well, yeah, and I'm sure I can remember there are two there, two for sure, that worked there when it was the post office. And you know what they say about postal employees? Not all of them, I'm sure.
No, no.
Yeah, right.
Well, and speaking of the ghosts, strawberries, like how can you tell from an earthbound spirit and a normal person if you see them like you see us?
Because they're not solid. I can still see their hair color, their eye color, the clothes that they have on, the color that they are. But if they, stood in front of a chair, if I squinted, I could see the chair through them. So they're just not solid
Com-
like we are.
Completely solid. Mad Snake says hello from Australia.
Wow.
Marianne, I recently picked up your book at an op shop and I found myself drawn to you and your work. I hope you're both well and thank you for doing the program.
Well, thanks for coming on from Australia. That's great. The last Zoom we had people on from Australia, which is there is a Zoom this coming Monday.
And
Uh,
there is still some room. So
and there's room. So definitely, come on if you think you have a problem.
we got about 8 spaces left. So don't wait to the last minute. That always happens. I get phone calls like right before it's supposed to start as the store is closing and like it's broken. It won't let me in. It's not broken. It's full. That's why you can't get in. Let's see. And there was a suggestion. Karen was like, have a list of general questions. Like maybe we did collect just general, questions to have on hand. And
You
if we
know,
come back,
for all the years that I've been doing this, you sit down with the homeowner and they start asking questions. It is identically the same set of questions that every homeowner asks every time I sit down. So when I walk into a house and I catch the ghost eye, I start asking, how long have you been dead? Why this house? Where are you buried? What can you tell me about that? I ask at least 15 of the questions that the homeowner automatically asks. So it would be, and I'm sure if we ask for questions, they would have to be really a little bit more than where are you buried and how long have you been dead.
mm. um, let's see. Divine says, how does someone put a curse on an organization like the athletic team? Is it just negative energy from fans? I wonder that from your book.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I said, let's use this as an example. Cleveland, of course, has the Guardians. And say New York is here playing, and let's pretend that A Rod was still their big hitter. And so when we're doing really good, the stadium is full. And here A Rod comes up to the bat, it's his turn. And every one of the Cleveland fans is going, you jerk, miss it, strike out. Why did you even bother to come? That's all negative energy going on to him. Yes,
Mhm.
that's one of them. And then you have corporation people that own like businesses or like organizations that, of course, are jealous of one another. Where,
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody cuts you off going down the highway, are you damning them when you swear at them because they cut you off? Think about it.
I mean,
It's not
that's what
hard.
it to me.
That's right. Not hard.
um, and unfortunately, Marianne, a lot of our team players on all the teams have your quincees. And then especially our baseball team is notorious for farming out our great players. So then they go become great in some other,
Well, yeah, it's like the Cleveland is the farm team, you
and
know.
now we can't tell them to miss the ball and make it happen because you've already
Right.
protected them.
And it's funny because I still hear from these guys, no matter who they're. As a matter of fact, today's Wednesday. I'm meeting Robbie Elamar on Friday morning at one of the airports close to the hotel. He called me from Puerto Rico. He says, I got a problem. I thought, huh. So he does again. And so, but it's so they still keep in contact with me, but they've gone on to do some really cool things for other teams.
Mhm. That's I used to be so into baseball and I got so disgusted with just and I'm like, I can't even be excited anymore. Like
Yeah.
I'm tired of the whole there's always next year thing.
Right, right.
Um,
Well, that's what all the sports announcers say. We'll try next year again.
I like Karen. I'm like, I would put it in the contract to be like, if you leave town, I get my seed back and you become fair game.
They
If
gotta
they
have
live
your
too
truth told. It's in there
sounds a
too.
whole lot like you better not get traded.
I can't. They can keep their teeth. I don't care.
Uh, Points and Ghoul says, I put my quinceañera on my key ring. Would it be best to actually wear it on my body? Yeah, because it's within 3 feet of you. So if your key ring is
Yeah, back by the door on the shelf, it's not going to do any good in your house. Yeah, maybe you
uh,
should put your seed closer to your cell phone because most people have their cell phones connected to their hips.
right, yeah, and they're so small. I mean, even the ones that it's just like a little bit of tape, it would probably fit in some phone cases, like
Oh
on
yeah, you
some.
take the back off. Everybody's putting them on the back right now and just putting the case back on. And
Mhm.
even if they're cracked, popped, or exploded, they still work 100%. So it makes no difference.
Yeah, so you just don't lose your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Amanda wants to know, does LeBron James have a quinceañera?
I can't believe you even asked me that question because I was just thinking about that when you were. Oh my, no, he does not have a quincy. There's only
Let's see.
the only person that I know that I actually turned down.
So Matt Stakes, we'll leave it at that. Uh, says, would love some more info on the Zoom. Definitely have some problems. So Zooms, we do two a month, one on a Friday, one on a Monday. They always start 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So anybody from anywhere can join us. Just, be mindful of the time change. Everybody gets to ask two questions. And you have to be in the building that your questions are about. If you are at work, well, Marianne can tell you what's going on at work, but if you really want to know what's going on at home, then you need to be in your house. Um, this is not for psychic readings. This is not mediumship readings or things like that. This is the earthbounds that are in that building. Um, and it is limited. So it's not live streamed like this. You don't have to worry about other people, judging you because they're all there with the same questions and concerns. And new people usually go first. And I say usually because sometimes somebody will register with a different email that they didn't use before, so they look new. And then I hear Marianne go, I've known you for years and it's been a minute since you've been on. I'm like, well, crap.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens.
um, but yeah, that is the link. That link will work all the times that we are ever offering these. So if it's 5 years from now and we're still doing it, that link should still work. Um,
And if you have something in the house, I give you suggestions. If you're not local, I give you suggestions on different things to try to remove whatever the problem is. And it has been very successful. I
mhm.
mean, it really has. I personally didn't think it would work, but it did. So thanks for pushing, Melissa.
I was like, let's try something real quick. Look, it works.
Yeah,
Karen said Seinfeld, no soup for you. Marianne, no Quincy for you.
I've never watched that show, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard little snippets and stuff.
Nah.
But um, let's see. Yeah, your Quincy work best when they're on you. I know there was just a few questions I was going to go back for. Rebecca says Jessica has a portal in the kitchen. If you came out, we'll ultimately close the portal and we remove the quincy from the wall. Would anyone come out of the portal? Would they talk to you?
That's it. You don't know. Because the seed is up there on her wall and nobody can come out, it sort of hasn't been used now, at least for a couple of weeks. And it would have to, I would guess that that seed would have to be off that wall for at least 2 weeks. Over a new moon or a full moon, for sure, because that's when they would have more energy anyway. And then maybe somebody would come out that way. But we did the portal closing already. Um,
I think she was just offering to like hopefully record a clear
That
view.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, but with her and the kids there, seriously, I don't know if I'd want to take the seat down.
I can always pull mine down, see if I get a new visitor. There's only the
Well,
one
I mean,
door.
when this is a situation with an apartment that wouldn't be surprised. You would probably get somebody pretty quick.
I just that
Especially if
little
we
old
got
lady
a
better not
party
be that.
going. If we party first, they'll come see what's going on.
Right? Well, I'm just like, well, it better not be that little old biddy who was trying to like blaze the apartment down,
Yeah,
messing with
right,
the gas, on my stove. She's mean. I had other words, but we won't say them.
right.
Uh, let's see. Patrick asks, are certain ghosts more powerful than others? What exactly makes one ghost able to move an object while others can't do it?
Energy, Patrick. It just depends how much energy that they have. And there are certain times in a month where they have more energy, which is the week working up to a full moon, on the day of a new moon, which, by the way, is next week, Wednesday, for those of you that do that. And it's an easy one because it's at 10:52 p.m., which means you don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to write a check, which is nice. But that's next Tuesday, so they'll have more energy on Tuesday. I couldn't figure out why they had more energy now. A lot of the people that I've been talking to in the last 3 or 4 days, their houses have had a lot of energy, and we're in between a new moon and a full moon. So I didn't understand why.
Solstice.
Well, I just found out about the 5 planets in a row.
Well, and it's also solstice.
Yeah, I knew that, but still, believe it or not, that's not one of the bigger ones. Okay, but
I
the,
figured you would more than the five planets because we're closer to the Earth.
yeah, you're closer to the Earth, but that 5 planets in a row, that doesn't happen very often. And so when it does, it really brings like a whoosh of big energy. So it just depends on phases of the moon. And don't bother to ask me why, because I have no idea why.
Maybe that could be another podcast episode. Different
Yeah,
planets, and
maybe.
you know, because I've they're even asking the questions on some of like the store videos, like what happened to your ghostly podcast? I'm like, I'm trying.
Well, okay. It looks like the YouTube that I do on Wednesdays at 5:30. I'm getting less and less letters, which is great because people don't have questions as far as they don't have any problems. But there's almost 200 of those YouTubes that are available to be watched at any time. I got to tell you, I think most of the questions have been asked and answered. Uh, so maybe if I stop the YouTubes, maybe what's the other one? The podcast can take its place. I mean, we could try that, but I'm going to keep going with the YouTube probably till the end of the month, which means today and next Wednesday. And I think I'm going to be done for a while with the YouTube.
Me
Uh,
too.
but maybe we can pick up the podcast starting next month sometime.
Yeah, and that you know, emailing questions too that you think you might want us to go over on the podcast.
Right, right.
We can definitely do that.
And see, it's cooler because you can just email the questions to Melissa because you can't do that to me. Or,
Right.
and so, and I know sitting down and getting a piece of paper and writing it out and finding a stamp, haha, and mailing it, it's you have to plan to do it. And so with just emailing Melissa a question, it's a lot easier, and I realize that.
Um,
Oh, well, Karen, yeah, I'm sorry. But I can't think of anything I haven't stopped and talked about.
it's a lot like to put on the video. Like this is the easy one because you guys make the content for us by asking the questions and we respond and we all have a good time. But to put on, that's brainstorming, putting it on, making sure, is it going to be interesting? Are people going to care? Do you want to listen through the whole thing? Um, it's tiring. So just like the store's regular podcast that's separate from mine and Marianne, just me and my people, like we were doing pretty good putting them up every week. And then it was just like, I'm out of ideas. I don't know what else to say. This is just a recap of this over here. And, it's a lot. It's a
But
lot.
that,
And then,
and that's what
you got to
happens
do
with
your own
you.
editing.
Right. It's like I read this letter, it's like, I just answered the same type of question 6 weeks ago. You know, I don't know, are people, and I don't want to use the word lazy, but I don't know what other words to use. Are they just too lazy to go back and find a topic and watch that one? Get your answer. By the time you write it out and you mail it to me, the answer is probably right there in front of you. So, and like I said, but if we get rid of one, we'll start something different. So, and the
Yeah.
podcast,
So just to be clear, it's not this Wednesday morning one. This
oh,
is
no, no, no.
this is the 5:31 later in the day that she's
Right.
considering not
Yeah,
doing.
right, right. The YouTube one, not this one. No, 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 no.
Yeah. So and please, and I know like Julie has also done this for us. Technically we're doing this on two platforms, all of the platforms. So if you're on Marianne's channel, please go to the store one and like it there as well, and thumbs up it, subscribe. And if you're on the store side, go to Marianne's. Like, help us out here because we each have other content that goes up. And the more that, we get friends to help that, the more other people can find us. So, but being interactive, sending in the questions, telling friends that are going to be interested, that greatly helps. Otherwise, we run out of stuff to talk about, to do.
And some of the letters, if I mean, I'm expecting letters will still come in, which is great. Please continue. Maybe the letters we can answer on some of the podcasts too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's an option too. So, like I said, if you figure one a week, 52 weeks, and there's over 200, that's a long time to be doing this.
Right. Well, and I mean, we've been doing this for what, 2 years now, the morning one. So that's a lot to go back and watch. You've got your 5:30s, and that is the one, the 5:30s.
That's the 5:30 on Wednesday is the one that there's only going to be two more of. Today and next Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the live ones like this, where we're live, you get to interact, and we all have a good time and laugh at silly stuff. That is still going to be a thing.
July still next Wednesday or June? I don't know.
Hang on. Let me open up. Hopefully, I didn't leave the screen on you guys. So yeah, next Wednesday is June 29th.
Okay, so we're still in June, so that's it then. All right.
Uh, so, yeah, the morning ghost chats. These right here will stay on.
Stay. These will stay. These aren't going anywhere. No.
Um, Melanie says it's the 5:31s that help her stay sane and not lose my sanity. Um, but if she's running out of material, like there's nothing more to put.
Like I said, I don't. Other people said this is getting boring, and I agree. You keep hearing ask the same questions, and and you can only get the same answer in so many different ways. I mean, it's
Mhm.
still the same answer. So
And see, Eleanor says, I really enjoy when you tell stories of your experiences with Earthbounds. And that's something that can be done on the podcast. Because Marianne and I had talked about to keep it separate. Because for a while there, we were thinking like we would just pull these down and throw that up on the podcast. And then I'm like, well, they've already watched it. Why do they want to listen to it?
yeah,
And to me, that feels like cheating. So we talked about like out of the cookbook, Marianne, you had so many other recipes. I didn't cut it because they weren't consistent, but they all had their own stories too. And I'm like, well, why don't we talk about those stories? Nobody's seen them yet.
right,
Not
right,
in any book.
right.
So that is a
And I
possibility.
can assure you, a cookbook will never be another book I do. Never.
So, that's something that we can be putting up in the podcast, different letters and or stories there. But you guys are more than welcome to send in your questions and letters, and we can go over that. Just please make sure, like in that email, if you don't want us to use like your name or something, let us know ahead of time, or we'll be like, hey, Gina has a
Right.
story.
Gina from Edina has this story. It's like, no, my neighbor
Right.
has this
If
too.
you're
No,
like,
no,
no,
it's
then you become Doofenshmirtz
Mariah on the
from
street, right?
Montreal.
Yeah. We'll walk when we get to her house. We'll cross the street and walk that way, and then come back. Don't walk in front of the house, right?
Right, right. Uh, um, so yeah, so the 5:30 video is the one that after this month will be going away. For Miriam, we're looking at doing up more with the podcast and replacing it. Um, and that's available on everything except for the iTunes because Apple, for some reason, just never liked it and would not upload it.
We
But
did how many podcasts? Two or three?
we did three. We did
And
three.
those were aired. How were I don't even remember how we did that. Were they aired on a certain day or a certain? I don't even remember.
Yeah, we were putting them out. I believe it was like on Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Okay, keep it on
Um,
Wednesdays. All right.
so Instagram's getting all of my screen switching and checking things. So Instagram's getting extra
Oh, okay.
treats. So we would try getting up on the a weekly regular thing. Again, it's still available on everything except iTunes. It's because like I said, Apple would not upload it, but you can listen to it for free, like on Amazon Music and Google and Spotify, all of the things.
Okay, good.
So,
And I lost one of my fur grandchildren yesterday.
oh,
My daughter's little Westie, 15 years old,
oh man,
uh, Rebel. Boy, that fit her name really good. But yeah, she died yesterday. So sad.
yeah,
Animals are like our kids. It's sad. It's sad when, but she'll dream of her soon enough. So
yeah. Um, I've already decided. When Sith goes, I've kind of decided that I would get another pet, but I wanted to purposefully go into like a shelter and get one of the more elderly senior like cats because they never get adopted.
right, right, exactly.
I'm like, I'm gonna go get me an old snuggle kitty,
Right, right.
and you know, not to purposely try to replace him, but I'm like, it's a whole different
That's right.
thing.
Yeah, some of the cats we've had over the years have been older cats, that rescue cats that we got. Even Bob and Bill, we rescued them as kittens, but no, I agree. The older cats, and when you walk into these shelters, you can't even walk. They're between your legs. They just need attention so bad. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and they asked if your little fur baby, grandbaby, do you know if they went into the white light or?
Uh, she Rebel had a little buddy of hers that's almost as old as her at the house, so she just died yesterday. So she still got her white light. So I haven't talked to my daughter yet today, but she'll be calling to see if she's still there or not. So
Okay.
I'm,
I,
I'm guessing she came to say goodbye to Kaz. So that would, and of course that's my daughter. Rebel was first, and then Kaz came. So it was Rebel without a cause.
oh, see what you did there.
Yeah.
I do like grumpy old people, grumpy old gnomes, and
Yeah. See, she's special.
yeah, I like all my old people have some of the coolest stories, man. And I love listening to like when they were talking about how they were when they were young and how they misbehaved and they were bad because they snuck out, went to a dance party. Their level of bad at teenage years compared to what some of these kids now do. And I'm like, oh my god, and to be in between the two and to see the difference, and I'm like, it's just astounding.
Right.
And these little old people that have had their spouses forever and just they're adorable, you know. Um, but yeah, I like my grumpy old people and gnomes and kids. Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Right.
Uh,
I got 14 balls in the garage, and you're not getting any of them back.
that's right.
Who's
I don't
my
care if they all
mother?
have your name on it.
Get your ball off my grass. It's like, oh, Mom, stop.
Yeah. um, be that little old lady at the end of town. Get off my grass. We only
The
want to
day
clip
that
your
we
grass.
moved mom out of her house into an assisted living, I think there were like six kids standing at the end of the driveway. They said, "Can we have all our balls back over the years?" I said, "Yeah, go in the garage and get them."
I honestly don't mind. Like next to the store is actually a daycare that you may not see from the road because it's behind. So there's our L-shaped building, then there's like this slanted building that's got like a chiropractor and something else in it. And then right on the other side of that building, they kind of share an entryway. You go all the way back, and there's a daycare.
Oh, I never noticed.
So I don't know if you and Ted have ever driven behind the back of the building, but there's like this wood fencing, and that daycare is on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So when it's nice out, I'll open up the cargo door and the front door to get a breeze and to just like
And hear 'em.
freshen up everything. And you can hear the kids out there laughing and playing. And there's been times where balls, whatever, have popped over the fence, and any one of us will just like toss it back over. And there's been a couple times I'm like, there is a little smarty pants because as soon as you toss it over and you turn to walk back, the ball comes back.
Oh yeah. Oh
you
great.
you know. Um,
Great.
so it's fun. I don't mind,
And see,
listening to
Ted's
them.
mom took this one step further. She kept balls too, but her house was very close to the end of the street. So as soon as Ted would go to work when he lived at home still, and my father-in-law would go to work, she'd go take a horse and put it at the end of her driveway so nobody turned around in her driveway, so it wouldn't break her concrete.
Well, okay. Like why?
And Ted's so normal.
Ted's got some stories like all of the times with your talk, and it's hilarious. People come like, "Have you heard her talk before?" And I'm like, "I could probably do her talk."
He could absolutely do my talk. Yes.
So he and I will sit off to the side or in the back and just listening to his stories. And we always like, "Did you remember the cards? Did you? No, damn, no poker this time." so, so we behave while you're talking.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right. No cops have been called yet.
No, right.
So, but yeah, it's after 11. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah, we gotta. Well, plan on coming and seeing us on Saturday. I really enjoy it when you guys come in, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's. Let's see what Like I said, bring stuff. Let me look at it.
Yeah, bring in stuff. Come in with some questions. You know what? I'm going to invite you to write down some questions, maybe, or if you have a story that you can print out or email, and we'll start collecting. Hand them to us. So
Yeah, after the fourth is over, let's try to figure out what would be a good day to
to do recordings.
do a couple recordings. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for me as well. I'm used to using this space for this anyway, so let's just. I won't gain any time back, but let's just put something different in there.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I'm even going to say, because like our friend Melanie, who's down in Georgia, who always wants us in Georgia, maybe in the meantime, what we can do is some of our friends who they don't mind. We could record like what kind of like how you and I see it, and I can send an extra invite to one of our friends who has a story that maybe wants to tell their story in person, and the three of us talk, and we can
Good.
record that for the podcast. So if you're open to something like that, let us know. Send
Yeah.
info. Tell us in person.
Right.
That we're open to things and ideas because, quite
Right.
frankly, doing all of this, and again, I have my own separate store and podcasts and list of events that I have to keep track of. My brain gets burned out. I run out of ideas. So, what do you guys want to hear and
Right.
possibly see? So,
Yeah, but we could do a podcast on fairies or aliens or curses or whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Well, and like Patrick, he's like, you got to come to Philadelphia. It's something like we need people to, when we have events, like tell your friends we need these events to be full, because we pay for everything up front. On top of me hunting them down, we got to put the money up front, and a lot of these are non-refundable.
Right. Exactly.
So if we can
I actually did a book signing in Philadelphia. So I've been there to do book signings, but
Yeah, if you guys have friends in close enough cities right now to start before we can start, leaving state. If you've got businesses that would be big enough to hold, 100 people or so, and we can get there, we'll come out.
Sure.
So help us help you. We like hanging out. We like seeing everybody. Marianne, you're used to it, but I still sometimes I'm like, oh, me? You're talking to me? Like when I've been out and about and people are like, oh, I love your YouTube. And I'm like, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one lady that was there last night at the book club, I hadn't seen her in about 5 or 6 years. Uh, she lived in, where did Cass live, Ted? What state did Cass live in? Oh, it was just Michigan. I thought it was one of the I states. Michigan. And she set up a whole thing for me to do a talk out there. She had
Hmm.
TV cameras out there and everything. And she showed, I was so shocked to see her when she walked in last night. And here she's been living in Oberlin for the last 5 years.
It's
So
a fun little ghosty town.
yeah, yeah, she's enjoying it. So, but yeah, but people have done that before.
Hmm.
Another group of people in that was a nice state. I don't remember which one, but they put everything together and I did a curse workshop out there when I was doing curse workshops.
I know a person who has space that could hold one.
Yeah, nah. Mm-mm. And so, uh, but yeah, so it people, people have done that.
Hmm. Oh,
You
hello
know,
from Germany.
why? Okay,
So yeah, guys, I mean, you got some ideas, throw them our way. We'll definitely consider them, try to plan them out, make it a thing. So,
sure, we're game.
I mean, have books, we'll travel.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Don't forget your new moon next Tuesday, and step in and see us on Saturday.
Yeah, come on out. It'll be a good time with air conditioning.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.